So, hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Hi, Corey. Glad to be with you.
Thank you for joining us for a follow-up interview from your last one. As you know, we had Sam previously, and now we can get you on here.
Thank you.
Well, I guess we'll just kind of address the initial, elephant in the room. You just got back from the debates, so what are your thoughts on that and stuff for the people in the group?
Yeah, I had a really good debate with Sam and Nooch on Lars Larson's show, live, on air and on video as well. So it was really good. I was really relaxed. That's my element there. And then we scored a big one when the question came up. Question was, if IP 43 is approved by the voters, will you as governor enforce it? And I said, no, I will not enforce that law. And we'll track it down. We'll go back and rewrite legislation around it. We'll find a way to get rid of it. And Sam said he would enforce it. And so I think that probably brought a lot of gasp in the 2A community.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That's, a lot of people have been very vocal about that in the group. And so to elaborate on that, because there is a lot of debate within the group in the comments that I've been monitoring for the last couple hours, and it's been insane. Let's say it did pass, right? You get elected governor, and it does pass.
Right.
How would that work? How do you even have the ability as governor to not enforce it because Lars did bring up the state police? Or would you be kind of screwed and have to push harder on the legislature? What would be your route to not enforcing it?
I'd have to check with my lawyers, but my first inclination would be to write an executive order. Mm-hmm. Secondly, to deal with the attorney general of the state and have, I think it's Ellen Rosenblum now, but hopefully, well, I don't think she's up for re-election, but
right.
I would send a note out either bypassing her or through her to all the sheriffs of all the counties in the state saying, we don't plan to enforce this. So, and I am not going to enforce this, and I would like you sheriffs to follow suit because that's where the power goes.
Would you go so far? So then let's go to the extreme, because I know Multnomah County would be like, I don't care, we're enforcing this. That is kind of their MO. Would you go so far, or would it be possible to literally pardon and not allow people to be prosecuted under that? Or would you even have that authority? Is that too far of an idea, or?
Yeah, that's an idea. I don't know that pardoning people would do any good. Once the stormtroopers are up on the porches,
that's valid,
taking your guns.
Yeah.
Now we're a step too far, and I know a lot of us would not be in favor of having somebody come to the house and take my stuff, and that might create some other issues. If I, as the governor, have said this will not be enforced, I don't know how local law enforcement could go through with it without being at peril. So
for sure. And to be fair, I also, when I said that Multnomah County would want to do it, I didn't mean the specific officers, just for anyone out there, because I've worked with a lot of police officers. I know at the individual level that they are like a no-go on that. I was more referring to the sheriff. No, that's an awesome, well thought out, good response on that one.
There's tons of angles, and at this point I don't have them all, but I'm telling you, I'm going to find a way to not let that happen.
That's fantastic. So that's a good lead-in to one of the questions I asked Sam before on the last interview that Rob Price asked. Do you support the Oregon counties with a Second Amendment preservation ordinance? And if so, do you think that they are legal and enforceable if Brown signed Bill 43 and 42 or 44 or whatever? So basically, let's say Brown stays in. Do you think, or even with you in, do you think it's legal, these counties that are setting up these firearm sanctuary counties?
Whoa. That's a good question. I mean, against federal officers coming in to a county, the sheriff has authority. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the sheriff has authority against state. I would say test it.
Yeah, it was tested with the universal background check a couple of years ago. Coos County, I know, will not enforce that law, and the county sheriff said they went in. I know there's some other counties, but I know for sure Coos. And I don't think state has won in. I don't know how that legally works. I'm sure there's some provision because I know they have a lot of power. But
I would say challenge it.
Yeah.
Challenge the state. If you're a sheriff, what can I do for support other than, having maybe been the defeated governor candidate, which I will not be. I will win that election.
Right.
Because I look forward to that. I mean, this primary has been the toughest thing. Winning the general, I can win.
This primary compared to the last, man, this has been dicey. This has been, not to get off any topic, but this one has been it's been fun for the sidelines to watch. It's been entertaining.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw or heard the debate, but Sam went off on both of us, so interesting. But so back to the sheriffs, and could they say no? I would say test it. Yes, have them tested.
That's awesome. So Matt Trujillo, I think I pronounced it kind of right. I've already destroyed his name once in the last video, and he's just gonna feel more attacked now. But he has a great question. How do you feel about repealing the Hughes Amendment, or the NFA or GCA? And if you don't know what those are, that is a brownie point. If you do, if you don't, I can help remind you.
I don't know what it is.
So Hughes Amendment, 1986, is what Reagan passed, which did not allow any more machine guns to be bought under the NFA. So you can own a machine gun in the United States under the National Firearms Act with a $200 tax stamp and the crazy ATF, but it cannot be manufactured after 1986. So would you be in favor of repealing that act or throwing your support behind repealing that act?
Because you can still own one that was built before 86.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still own one, so why not repeal it and make it good all the way out?
It would still be under the NFA in that sense. It would just, so it's not like a normal firearm purchase. You would still have to do the 6-month background check.
Correct. And I understand. I had a question like that last night in Eugene at the University of Oregon, Young Republicans. This really sharp young guy said, I think he said like in Arizona or New Mexico that you can pay $200 and buy an automatic weapon. Mm-hmm. And I had no idea that either. So I had to say, I'm a dummy on that one. So frankly, so is that the same, just along the same lines?
That's the same lines. Absolutely the same lines. Yeah. It's interesting, and just a little back history on this. And for people in the group that might not know who are listening, the Hughes Amendment, prior to the Hughes Amendment, the reason they put in that $200 tax stamp in the NFA was during like the mob and back then, and $200 back in the, I think it was 1934, the National Firearms Act was passed.
Big bucks. That's big bucks.
$200 was, that was a big thing. Then that stopped you from getting your Tommy gun at the hardware store. And that was kind of the idea. Also, it had no effect on crime, naturally. But once the NFA passed, from 1950 to 1986, there was only one crime in which a legally National Firearms Acted registered firearm was ever used in a crime. A machine gun was, and that was a police officer with his MP5 shot his wife in a domestic dispute. One instance. So it would still be heavily regulated. It was snuck in there. That bill was snuck in 86 with the Reagan administration when they was doing the freedom to travel. So it was with a good bill. It's kind of an interstate commerce. They kind of slipped it in there on us. And that leads into the next. Do you know about HPA, or do you have any support for HPA, which would be the Hearing Protection Act?
What does it do? Does it make you wear hearing protection?
It would take suppressors off of the NFA and allow us to buy them like a regular firearm.
Sound suppressors. Mm-hmm. Silent.
Yes.
Yeah. And allow you to buy them like a regular firearm.
Yeah, you would still get
Why not? I mean, what difference is that going to make, right?
Exactly. And you in the military know that, or we're in the military, know that they don't actually make them silent.
Right.
Very much not. And in Europe, they're not regulated. You just go. They're not even. There's no background check. You just buy one. It's rude in Europe to shoot without one. Funny enough.
Yeah. Not neighborly.
Right. Not neighborly. Well, their ranges are a lot closer together, so it makes sense. Their houses and stuff. So.
Sure. Yeah.
But so that was the big NFA questions. HPA was a big one.
I thought you were talking about things you put over your ears when you're shooting.
People should still wear those.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
That should be a thing. So the next question is, what would you do for our state's reciprocity? What would you do? Because, there's the national reciprocity debate, but also if things stay the way they are at the federal level, Oregon does not recognize any carry from any other states unless they're a border state. Thus, no states recognize ours either outside of those border states. So is there anything that you would support or try to pursue as governor to help that situation?
I would look to get reciprocity. I mean, you go through a long enough investigation, background check to get your concealed carry, and I've got mine. Mm-hmm. What did I get with it? Idaho or some other?
Oh yeah, Utah. Utah will get you 30-something states. Yeah.
But why not? Why I can't drive into Washington State or whatever? So
And it's funny. Like Washington, the only reason they don't recognize ours is because we don't. But if you just take your Oregon permit, drive right over to the sheriff, and pay the fee, they'll just give you one. It's simply because we don't. So that's great to hear. That'll make people very happy.
I would help with I would want to see the reciprocity.
So let's see what else we got here. Okay. This is a tough one. So prepare yourself on this one. This is a curveball one. Let's say you as a private citizen, not as governor candidate or governor, you as a private citizen, if IP 43 and 44 passed, would you turn in your firearms?
No.
Oh, that was easy. That wasn't as hard.
That wasn't hard at all. That wasn't a curveball. That was
perfect. Well,
I'll quote my former icon, past guy, Charlton Heston, right?
Right.
You're going to have to pry these weapons out of my cold, dead fingers or something like that. Remember when he said that?
I think it was cold, dead hands. Yeah. I can't remember. But yeah, I feel the sentiment.
Right. Huh.
Well, that's a great question. I'm trying to think of any other. Those were the tough curveballs that made it. Follow-up question or a final question, if you want it to be, unless you have anything else to add to, was women carrying. About 30% of the members of our group are female, and that has been rising steadily. That gap has been closing. It's pretty impressive. So we'd love to see that number increase. And I would also add outside of the group, just in general, more female involvement. So what do you think we could do to encourage women to take their safety into their own hands, as well as encourage their involvement in the gun community or firearms community?
I think, I hate to generalize, but perhaps make women more comfortable with handguns, because a lot of them, even the Ruger I have is big. I have size 11 hands, so maybe, and I know they're already out there, the smaller weapons, and, but let women know that through some sort of training or I can't advertise, I guess, or, just let them know that these things aren't going to recoil and, throw it back in your face, and we have the technology to let you have something with which you can protect yourself. And you don't have to be afraid of it, right? And you get the proper training and exposure to it. Maybe Cabela's or somebody, I don't know if that's a good company in your name, but anyway, somebody could say, "You got a ladies' night, and we're gonna shoot, and we'll show you how." And
there's many ranges. Yeah, there's many ranges that do that and that facilitate that, which is awesome.
Yeah. Rich's Gun Shop in Donald, Oregon. I have to put a plug in for them. That's a good place.
There you go. Where's Donald, Oregon at?
It's like 20 miles south of Portland.
Oh, gotcha. Wow.
It's a great gun store. It is unbelievable.
I will have to go check that out since I'm in the
Rich's Gun Shop. In fact, Michael Beery out of Houston, the syndicated guy, came up there and did an on-site with them. But so anyway.
Very cool.
I expect to get a couple hundred rounds out of them for that.
Yeah. You better be sending you some ammo because that was definitely a shameless plug right there. Is there anything you would like to add? You made those questions really quick. You made them in the mincemeat. That was quite good. So anything you want to elaborate on the Second Amendment and let our group know?
All right. We get into the amendments. I am clear about our Constitution. First Amendment, we can't whittle away at that. Second Amendment, no, because, and I'm getting into politics here, or into at least the philosophical views of, our founding fathers came from tyranny to found this great country, and they were brilliant. And they wrote the Constitution, they amended the Constitution to preserve our liberties, to make sure that no government would come in and take stuff from us like happened to them in Europe, and that's why they came to the United States, to find that freedom. We can't let that change. It's got to stay.
Fantastic. Well, that's solid. That's all I have for right now.
All right.
I don't think before the primary we will have time for another interview, or that it would,
well, call me. Let me know.
We shall see. So we will get this up for everyone tonight, and thank you for coming on.
My pleasure, Corey.
You have a great night.
Thanks a lot. You too.